The scene unfolded in the marble lobby of Crestview Financial's flagship branch, where the air was thick with tension. "I'm sorry, but we can't just hand out cash to anyone who walks in," said bank manager Sarah Thompson, her voice dripping with condescension as she slid the withdrawal slip back across the counter to a young black woman. The woman's name was Maya Johnson, and her heart raced as she stood there, dignity intact but humiliation mounting by the second. Sarah's words echoed in the lobby, drawing the attention of the staff, who had gathered in a circle to witness the unfolding drama. "Yeah, right. She doesn't even look like she has that kind of money," a young employee whispered to her colleague. Just loud enough for others to hear. Laughter rippled through the group, and Maya felt every eye on her, the silent judgment weighing down on her like a heavy cloak. What they didn't realize was that Maya was not just a regular customer. She was the CEO of Crestview Financial, and her revelation was about to change everything. As the laughter faded, an older woman nearby clutched her purse tightly, casting wary glances at Maya. Other customers shifted uncomfortably, some pretending to look busy with their phones, while others watched with an expression of disbelief. In that moment it was clear that the atmosphere had shifted, and Maya's composure would soon challenge the assumptions of everyone present. If you believe in fairness and respect for everyone, regardless of their background, drop a comment saying "respect matters" below, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories. Maya Johnson was no ordinary woman. She stood tall and composed, exuding an air of quiet strength that belied the circumstances. As she faced the condescending remarks from the bank staff, the memory of her journey flooded her mind. 25 years earlier, she had been a bright-eyed trainee teller, wearing a pressed uniform and a name tag that read "Teller Trainee." Coming from humble beginnings, Maya had faced countless obstacles, but her determination, intelligence, and relentless work ethic propelled her to incredible heights within Crestview Financial. Over the years, she had climbed the corporate ladder, navigating the challenges that came with each promotion, from teller to loan officer, then branch manager, and eventually regional director. Maya earned her MBA from a prestigious university and led her teams to achieve record-breaking results in various divisions. Despite proving herself time and again, there were whispers among the board members when it came time for the CEO's retirement. Concerns surfaced about whether a black woman could effectively represent the company to major clients. Yet, undeterred by the doubts of others, Maya made history when she became the first black woman to lead Crestview Financial. Her acceptance speech was powerful and poignant, emphasizing her commitment to ensuring that every client and employee experienced respect and excellence, without exception. As she stood in the lobby, witnessing the dismissive behavior of the staff, Maya's heart swelled with a mix of pride and indignation. She was determined to confront the biases that had long been ingrained within the institution, and she knew that this day would mark a turning point, not just for herself, but for every individual who had faced similar prejudice in the past. Determined to understand the reality faced by her customers, Maya decided to take an undercover approach. On a Tuesday morning at 9:15 a.m., and she walked through the revolving doors of Crestview Financial's flagship branch. Dressed in a simple navy hoodie and dark slacks, her natural hair styled conservatively, to anyone observing, she appeared to be an ordinary, middle-class woman, far removed from her position as CEO. As she took a seat in the waiting area, ostensibly scrolling through her phone, Maya keenly observed the customer service dynamics unfolding around her. Within the first 15 minutes, she witnessed a troubling pattern of preferential treatment. A sharply dressed white businessman entered the bank, and before he could even reach the counter, a staff member greeted him warmly, escorting him directly to a desk. In stark contrast, an elderly Asian couple was directed to take a number and wait, receiving no smiles or warm welcomes. Maya continued to watch as a young white woman approached the quick service counter, where the teller chatted amicably with her, completing the transaction in under 2 minutes. Then came a Hispanic man in janitor attire, who faced a barrage of questions and requests for multiple forms of identification, with his simple check cashing taking nearly 10 minutes. After waiting 37 minutes, Maya finally approached the counter herself, where teller Lisa's smile faltered at the sight of her. "How can I help you?" she asked, her tone noticeably cooler than it had been with previous customers. "I'd like to make a withdrawal, please," Maya replied, sliding her ID and withdrawal slip across the counter. The amount was a substantial. Lisa's eyes widened in disbelief as she examined Maya's ID, her demeanor shifting as she glanced nervously at her colleagues. Rather than proceeding with the transaction, she turned to her supervisor, Mark, who approached with an air of authority, looking down at Maya as if she were somehow less deserving of her own funds. The atmosphere in the lobby was charged with tension as other customers began to take notice, some exchanging glances of disbelief at the unfolding situation. Maya held her composure, determined to assert her right as a longtime customer. "There is no problem here. I'm simply making a withdrawal from my account." Yet Mark's response was dismissive. As he scrutinized her ID and questioned the legitimacy of her transaction, the weight of the assumptions being made about her began to feel suffocating. But Maya was resolved to stand her ground. As Mark continued to scrutinize Maya's ID with exaggerated suspicion, the tension in the bank lobby escalated. "We've noticed some unusual activity on these types of accounts lately," he stated, making it clear he was referring to Maya's account without even attempting to hide his disdain. "We need to be extra cautious." Maya, feeling the weight of the underlying prejudice in his words, calmly asked, "What kinds of accounts would those be exactly?" Her steady voice contrasted sharply with the rising volume of the situation. Instead of answering, Mark called over Jessica Thompson, the branch manager, who approached with a mix of false concern and authority. "Ma'am, I understand there's some confusion regarding your withdrawal request," Jessica said, her tone dripping with condescension. She didn't bother to introduce herself or ask Maya's name. Instead, she took charge without any regard for the dignity of the woman standing before her. "There's no confusion on my part," Maya replied firmly. "I'm simply trying to access my own money." Jessica's smile didn't reach her eyes as she questioned Maya about the purpose of such a large withdrawal, a question that had not been posed to any of the white customers that morning. The blatant double standard hung thick in the air, and Maya could feel the judgment from the surrounding staff and customers. Behind Jessica, the employees exchanged knowing glances, while the tension in the air became almost palpable. Lisa fidgeted with some deposit slips, her discomfort evident, but she remained silent. Mark and Richard, another teller, didn't bother to conceal their amusement, exchanging smirks as they watched the scene unfold. Maya took a deep breath, summoning her strength. "I understand the need for security. I've provided my identification and bank card. I've been a customer here for many years. I would like to complete my transaction now, please." Her calm demeanor contrasted sharply with the hostility she faced, and as Jessica's expression hardened, Maya knew she had to assert her rights further. "Perhaps you might be more comfortable at the check cashing place down the street," Jessica suggested dismissively, implying that Maya, as a black woman, would be better served elsewhere. The blatant disrespect echoed in the lobby, and a collective gasp rippled through the customers present, many of whom were now openly watching the confrontation unfold with a mix of shock and disbelief. Maya felt the familiar tightness in her chest, a sensation she had experienced countless times throughout her career. This moment encapsulated the prejudice she had worked so hard to overcome. It was a painful reminder of how easily assumptions could lead to humiliation, but she remained resolute. With every eye on her, she knew she had to stand firm, not just for herself but for everyone who had ever been dismissed or disrespected based on their appearance. In that charged moment, Maya made a decisive choice. She would not allow herself to be further victimized or dismissed. Instead, she reached into her purse, pulling out her phone with calm determination. "Excuse me for a moment," she said, stepping slightly away from the counter but remaining within view of the onlookers. As she dialed, the atmosphere in the bank seemed to shift, a hush falling over the crowd. "Hello, this is Maya Johnson calling," she said, her voice steady and professional. The laughter and mockery from the staff had faded, replaced by a palpable tension as they watched her every move. Richard leaned over to Mark, whispering something that made Mark snicker, but the humor was lost on Maya. She continued speaking into the phone, her gaze fixed firmly ahead. Yes, I'm at the downtown branch. They've refused my transaction, she stated clearly, her tone unwavering. Jessica, sensing the shift in power dynamics, stepped forward with an air of annoyance. I'm going to have to ask you to conclude your business elsewhere, she said, her patience waning. You're causing a disturbance in our branch. Maya turned slightly to face Jessica, still on the phone. Diane, I need you here at the downtown branch now, she said firmly. The mention of Diane Porter, the head of operations, sent a ripple of uncertainty through Jessica and the staff. Who was this woman? And how did she have direct access to someone so high up in the company? As the tension mounted, other customers began to take notice of the unfolding drama. Some recorded the exchange on their phones, while others watched with a mix of concern and curiosity. The older man in a postal worker's uniform observed with a resigned expression, knowing all too well the struggles of being treated unfairly in a place where respect should be paramount. Jessica's confidence faltered, and she glanced nervously at her colleagues, realizing that she was losing control of the situation. The atmosphere thickened with anticipation as Maya's calm defiance contrasted sharply with the hostility surrounding her. It was a pivotal moment, one that would not only define her own experience, but also challenge the deeply ingrained biases within Crestview Financial.